We are talking about chasing dreams. Chasing dreams. Amy, my wife Amy, right there. She's short. You might miss her. This is a full circle moment for us. Me and Amy met and fell in love in Middletown. I was at a church down the road. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I remember being in service. I had like long hair, earrings. I was a mess. Loved God, served God, called. But I saw her walk down the aisle, and I was like, Lord, that's the one. Lord, and because I shouldn't say this, it sounds so creepy. But she walked down the aisle, and I was like, there's no way she's legal, right? She's so young, and it was like, Lord, I'm going to have to wait for her. And so I think it was that night they had a singles. You guys ever have singles for, no? Praise the Lord. They're just meat markets. You don't need to have them. So I walked in, and I'm sitting there, and Amy comes walking in, and I was like, yes, she's old enough. And God, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, that's horrible. But I was at this singles thing, and I was just in love instantly. And she actually was trying to set me up with a much, much older lady. Yeah. And it took her a year to fall in love with me. And I still have it in my wallet. 26 years, I have a little piece of paper that she wrote, I love you. She wouldn't say it, but she wrote it on a piece of paper, and I still have it in my wallet to this day. And she means the world to me. But coming from there to this stage, the first thing when me and Amy, I was like, hey, I need to ask this girl out. And mind you, when I was 16 years old, the Lord told me that the next person I would date would be the one that I married. And I took that very seriously. So entire life up to me and Amy, I've been on one date. So I had no game. None. So I asked her out. Her dad was the elder of the church. He was like the pastor, and then it was him. And I asked her out, and she said, nope, you can't do that. She said, you got to go to my dad first. And I was like, okay. And then I made the mistake of calling him by his name, not Mr. And I got raked over the coals for that. And let me tell you, I didn't share this in the first service, but I had to be interviewed by her dad. I had to go into the church office, sit down, and he asked me a laundry list of questions. And he said, I will not let you date my daughter unless I feel like you're... And I was like, dude, it's just a date. Come on. But and the first thing we had to do, we had to have dinner with her entire family. So I'm telling you, I worked. I worked. But that night we were sitting there. After dinner, we went out into her driveway, and we laid out our entire life. We talked about every one of our dreams. We talked about what our passions were. We both had a passion for youth. We both had a passion for camp. It's crazy that is what we're doing now, being coordinators of the camp. And that's something we talked about 26 years ago. God is so good. God is so good. Dreams. We all need to have a dream to chase. We all need to have a vision to run after. And it goes into what I wanted to talk about. And the only reason I'm talking about this morning, it's not necessarily because it's Grad Sunday and Next Gen. That all works into that. But this has been in my heart for months. For months. Me and Amy have been talking about dreams. What our next step in ministry is. What our next, because you never stop. Get this in your head, guys. You never stop moving. You never stop going up and going to another level. So it takes me to 1 Samuel chapter 16. And then during this time in 1 Samuel 16, King David, or David, was being anointed to be king. King Saul was completely screwing it up. It literally says he was a failure. And so Israel was in a time of transition to where they had a king that was not anointed anymore, and they had to bring in a king. And so Samuel was directed by God to go anoint the next king. And he went to a town called Bethlehem. And mind you, this was not a famous city at this point. This was not something, it wasn't like Jesus. It was just a podunk town that was full of farmers. And you would not go to this town to find the next king. That would not be the spot. I feel like I'm hanging out over here too much. So Jesse goes, and he's trying to find a king. And it brings me to my first point about being consecrated. It goes from 1 Samuel 16:5. It says, and he said, Samuel, peaceably I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. Before promotion, there has to be a consecration. Now, when the brothers, all the sons, before they could even get to the sacrifice, before they could even get to the point where they would be called, to where God would bless them, they had to separate themselves from the world. They had to separate. It says consecration is intentionally separating yourself unto God. That's what it means. And so in order for them to even get to the sacrifice and get to the calling, they had to cleanse themselves. They had to wash. They had to wash their clothes. There was a process. And it didn't happen just, hey, I'm going to go wash my hands and go in here and get a blessing. It was, there's times where it would take up to a week even to get prepared for the sacrifice. And so they went through this process. And my question is, we have dreams, but we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to, listen, this is not just teenagers. This is the society that we live in. We want the blessing without the work. We want the blessing. We want the windows of heaven to be opened up, but we don't want to give. We want just everything given to us. How many agree that that's kind of what the society is right now? Where young people, oh man, I'm going to get picky here. I had a young man, oh my gosh, he's like one of you guys, like you. I was actually at your graduation. And one of my students also graduated a year early, and he got his associate's degree. And then he's going, by the end of his senior year, he'll have 2 associates. So anyways, we were talking, and he was like, my first job, it's like $25 an hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, 25. Do you remember what minimum wage when you started working? You don't want to. For me, it was $4.75. $4.75, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm making money right now. And I got and now with these kids, it's $25 an hour. It's unreal. But I digress. $4.16. When I got a quarter raise and I went to $5, that was a trip to McDonald's right there. No, it was awesome. Oh, to circle back real quick, I've got to share this. So I went through the date, right? I went to the meeting the parents, and then the first date that me and Amy had, just me and her, I was like, I'm going to spoil this girl. Oh, it's going to be amazing. We actually went to a restaurant right up the street, Burger King. I had $20 to my name, and we rolled in there. I said, babe, you get whatever you want. It's on me. And we sat there for 3 hours talking over fries and a Whopper. And I'll never forget that. Every time we go past it, it's like, oh man, look what the Lord has done. But we go back to before we get the call, before we get the blessing, there needs to be a time in our life where we get consecrated, where we literally separate ourselves and to step into God's anointing and to be called. And that's so important right now, not just in this generation, but in this society, all of us. Because everybody wants the platform, few people want the preparation. We have Pastor Ray here. The amount of stuff that he does that you never see. The amount of study, the amount of being on his knees crying for you guys. You never see that. But that is necessary for this platform. He does the preparation. Okay. I'm going to go into my next one. This is so important. And point number 2 is don't be an Eliab. Oh, I did it. Eliab, Abinadab, and Shammah. Okay. So David, the sons come in, right? And Samuel looks at Eliab, the oldest son, and he looks at him and is like, this is the one. This is obviously one. It's kind of like Pastor Luke. Pastor Luke comes in, beautiful, beautiful young man. Big and strapping, the beard is working, right? And he obviously he's the anointed one of God. He's going to be the next king. Nope. Samuel said, get on down the road. That you're not the one. Second son comes up. Nope, you're not the one. Third son, same thing. 7 of them come up, nothing. And mind you, the 3 oldest brothers were captain of the army. Each one of them held a position in the army. They were high-level leaders, and they were warriors. So it just made sense that they were going to be into the next step. But the Lord passed on all of them, and he said, do you have another son? And let's go to 1 Samuel 16. I skipped over all of these in the first service, so I want to share these right now. 16, 6 through 9, it says, so when they came that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord anointed it before him. But the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or at his physical stature, because I've refused him. Not just refused him, for the Lord does not see man as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. So Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass. And he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Then Jesse made Shammah pass, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. And so forth and on. They didn't pick one. How many, this is completely off my notes. How many of us have ever been overlooked? How many of us feel like we've been overlooked? We feel like we have something to give. We feel like we have a purpose, but we get overlooked. Now, these 3 sons, they had a calling. They had a purpose. Their purpose was not to be king, but that didn't change the importance of what they were called to do. And so many of us, we fall into the path of what these guys did. It says they said David was evil. They said he had an evil heart. He had evil intentions. And we cannot criticize somebody else's dream because we're not achieving ours. We have the number one way to lose focus on your dream is to criticize another one for their achievement. So I grew up in a very violent household. When my dad would come home, first thing he would do, we would catch a beating. And each day was different. Each day it was, okay, it's my turn. The next day, it was my older brother's turn. My younger brother never got spanked, never got beat. It was just me and my older brother. And so, and by the, Lord, this might be a therapy session for me, I don't know. But when I was in kindergarten, I got through kindergarten. You guys ever get a report card? You get a year end. I know you smart kids don't. It doesn't affect you. But I got this report card, and it gives what they say that you're going to be, kind of like an overview of what your last year. And literally on my report card, on my little paper, it says, he will be in prison by the age of 21. Hand to God. It's literally, you could go into the files and find that. They said that I would not amount to anything. They said, one teacher told me that you need to have a strong back because you're going to have to rely on your back to make it. And then my mom, I remember standing in the kitchen and she was like, you're going to have to learn how to be a ditch digger because that's all you're going to, because I had two brothers and they're geniuses. My younger brother, he works for a pharmaceutical company, a white coat. He's basically a chemist, puts the medicine together, mixes them, and creates the medicine. Super smart. My older brother, he's a jack of all trades. Every couple years, he finds a new thing to get involved in. He's EMT, he's been a firefighter, he's worked at a gator farm. Crazy. All these different things, anything he does, he excels at. And here I am being told, I had a teacher in third grade told me that you would never be the president of the United States. And she's right. I mean, but to tell a third grader that they're not going to amount to anything is tough. So I became like these three brothers. I was like, I ain't going to say that word. I'm a youth pastor, but I can't say that. The heck with all of you. Because I'm not going to be anything, so I'm going to criticize everything you do. And we get into that mindset. We get into that way of thinking, because I'm not achieving what I'm called to do, you must be evil. And what that is saying, when you criticize somebody else, it's revealing your heart. It's revealing what's in you. So we cannot be these three brothers. Because what happens, and it happened to these three guys, they disappeared from Scripture. They disappeared from the call. Because it says the last time they were mentioned was in the next chapter when they were fighting Goliath and when they called David evil. From then on, they're not mentioned in the Word anymore, other than through genealogies. If you're not careful, you will criticize away your dreams. You will criticize your way out of your vision and your calling. We've got to be very careful. Go to point 3. This is so awesome. Don't despise the delay. Don't despise the delay. So, in the next step, Samuel, he anointed David. He brought him in and he anointed him to be king. And this was one of the most important parts, most pivotal part in biblical history, is when David was anointed to be king. I mean, it was so amazing. He was going to be the next king, and he was going to be the lineage of Christ. So powerful. And he got anointed and before God, before Jesse the prophet, before his father, before his sons. What did David do next? He went back to the field. He was anointed to be king, but he went back to shepherd. He had anointing on his head and had dirt on his feet. We all think that the next step for David was going right in to kill Goliath because it's the next chapter. That did not happen until months and months later, possibly up to a year or more before so this entire time he was in the field, thinking he was anointed to be king, yet there was nothing in that. He's a shepherd. right? Honestly, it is 20 plus years from that moment to where he was crowned king over all of Israel. 20 years. So with that being said, we all have dreams. Who has a dream? Oh my gosh. Who has a call on your life? I was 13 years old when God called me to ministry. 13. It's hard to believe, but I was the loudmouth, smart mouth kid in the youth group. All right? I would not shut up. I thought I had to be the funniest person in the room. Sorry, Luke, I have the crown. So my youth pastor, he was like, since you like to be the center of attention, next week you are doing Sunday school. You're going to lead the Sunday school class. And I instantly shut up. I instantly did no more jokes that day. I was like, he's serious. And he didn't just throw me in there. What happened was he said that, and the next day he gave me an outline of the message. He taught me. We went to lunch. He said, okay, these are the points. This is what you need to say. This is how you need to start. This is how you close. This is what you want to hit on. Trust what God is telling you in the moment and go to that. And so what is happening here? We get the appointment, and then we got to get the training, right? So when I went into that, and I did that Sunday morning, I came out and I felt it, the call of God. It was so exciting. And I asked Luke and Natalie. Luke was 9 years old when he felt the call. 9 years old. Isn't that amazing? It's so amazing. Natalie was 13 years old when she felt the call to ministry. Now, I want you to picture something. I want you to picture Luke up here as a 9-year-old doing what he's doing now. I want you to picture Natalie up here worshiping. She could probably do it. I mean, she's perfect in all ways. Picture them up here. Picture me as a 13-year-old trying to speak to you guys. What would happen? It would be a failure. It would be a mess. I might have been called, but I wasn't ready. I might have had the heart, but I don't have the training. So many of us, just like King David, he had 20 years. Had 20 years to hone his craft. My question is to you guys, what are you doing to step closer and closer to your dream? What plan have you set up? I was talking to a guy between services, and he felt led to be a church planner. He wants to plant a church. Okay, you don't just get up one morning and be like, okay, let's go out and start a church. That would be horrible. And there's people that do that, and they fall on their face. You take the steps. Okay, being a youth pastor of one of the biggest youth groups in Ohio, he started at 16. From when I met him, 16, that's when I met him. He was already a youth leader. He was already learning. He was already doing the work before he got the stage. There's a process. Every one of us has a process. Now, I am not a mechanic. I would destroy a car. I've tried. This last month, I took a big leap and I changed my own brakes. Dude, I felt like I was the man. It took me 2 days, but I did it. But I had to learn. I watched YouTube. I did everything I could do to be prepared to do that. And I still don't know if it's right. The one back brake still has a little squeak to it. But it's new, so it's got to be right. My point to you guys is there has to be a process. I don't care how old you are, just graduating high school. I'm 52 years old. I'm technically the oldest youth pastor in the Church of God. Why are you laughing? So, oh my gosh, just last month, I had to get hearing aids. So, be a youth pastor, go into your youth group with hearing aids. Oh my gosh, you guys haven't lived until you have about 50 to 60 students just ripping you apart, making fun of you. Oh, it was awesome. So be in youth ministry when you're 50. I don't say that begrudgingly. I am blessed and honored to do what I do. But me and Amy, we are getting ready, and I don't know what's going on this morning. I'm telling you stuff that you shouldn't know, all right? Me and Amy are, Amy's scared. We are entering into a time in our life where there's a next season coming. How many's been there or there right now? Where you're in a season of your life and then there's another one coming. And so with that, we have to learn how to dream again. We have to learn how to, okay, Lord, where are you taking us? What's going to be opened up? What's next? And let me tell you something. You guys see these guys back here. If you don't dream and know how to cast a vision and move forward, they won't. We have future doctors. We have future youth pastors, future pastors. But if they are not taught, they don't get to do what they're called to do. We have to have a family. That's why Stratford is so awesome. You guys don't understand how rare this church is. Because when we came in, I told them that it felt like we were coming into a Disney movie. All right, I pulled into the parking lot and I came in those doors. There were squirrels dancing in the flower beds. Oh, it was beautiful. And I saw a deer drinking by the stream. And I promise you there was a bear waving. And I come in and it's like, oh, this is unreal. The squirrels didn't even run. I walked past and they were like, Pastor Chip, welcome to Stratford. And we come in and then, Chris, we're right there. This man has shadowed me from the time I got in the doors to time I leave. Anything I want, anything I need. You want to go, and we took us into pastor's office, the inner sanctum, right? I didn't think you took youth pastors in there. And so I went in and I saw his desk and I thought, I want to sit there. He's like, nope. I said, get me out of this office right now. The anointing in here is too much. And I play. But so we come in and we're down here talking to everybody. And then Pastor Ray walks in. Oh my gosh, the heavens open. There's beams of light. And he comes down and all the kids run to him. And it happened. I'm not even joking you. Kids come running off the stage to get a hug, to get a high five. Oh, that's unreal. That's so powerful. And I don't even know why I'm saying this, right? You guys want to get to lunch. Oh, Chick-fil-A. I wish Chick-fil-A was up. That would be my pick, right? Oh, where's the graduate who Chick-fil-A's paying for your college? I'm honored to contribute to that. I appreciate that. But my whole point, guys, and I'll close, my whole point for this morning is we have to separate ourselves so we can hear from God. We have to consecrate ourselves so we can even get into God's presence. A lot of us want to come in and worship and then leave and do whatever we want. And we expect that moment of worship, that one day a week, to get all the answers. It doesn't work that way. It's a consistent walk. It's a crucifying your flesh daily. So we've got to do that. Step number one. Step number two is understand the call. When you get a call, when you get a vision, dream about it. Me and Amy, when we sat in that parking lot, our mind was running wild. And I encourage you to do that. A lot of us just forget how to dream. Forget how to get excited about what is possible. Because what? With God, all things are possible. You can't outdream God. So dream big. Dream big. Don't be the three sons. Don't criticize somebody else's dream because your dream's not coming to pass as quick as you think it should. And most of all, love him in the waiting. Learn. Be teachable. Be steadfast. Get as much information as you can get. Learn as much as you can learn. Take the steps. Create a plan. Now, the plan might not always go the way you want it to, but there's a foundation there. There's a foundation to move forward. And I'm telling you right now, Stratford Heights Church of God, you guys are not done dreaming. There is so much left to do in this ministry. No, this church has not arrived yet. There is visions in these pews right now. I keep calling you guys pulpits. Sorry. There is visions and dreams in these pews. There's things that this church needs that you're the only one that can give it to them. There's things that need to be birthed, but you are the one that is holding that dream. I wrote this down. Let me get to it. Okay, listen to this. Go chase your dreams. There are still souls to be reached. There are still ministries to build. There are still songs to write. There are still businesses to start. How many in here have a passion to start a business? Right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. My gosh. I just, this last weekend, one of our camp kids, they started a candy shop. It's called Hey Sugar. And I was like, how random is that to open up a candy store? And when I went there to support her, she told me her dream. It started when she was 11. Started when she was 11-year-old, and she had this vision. So she started doing what? Working in a candy store, learning the business, learning how to get to the next step. And opportunity arose. She was able to do it, and because of her past and her work and her effort and her diligence, she was able to walk into this business. And it's amazing. Follow your dream. Don't let people destroy it. Don't settle. Oh, that's something I forgot from the last one. David had 2 opportunities to shortcut to the king, to being king. 2 opportunities where he could have killed Saul. He didn't take the shortcut. Don't take a shortcut, guys. You will fail. Don't compare and don't quit. We've got to keep the dream. We've got to understand that being a kindergartner, being a 12-year-old, being told that they would never amount to anything, being beaten so bad from a father I couldn't walk for 4 days, that when they took me to the doctor turned his head and said, you might not want to do this again. Being from there to being on this stage, it's a fulfillment of God's dream of our life. Don't ever let circumstances keep you from following your dream. Don't let church hurt keep you from following your dream. You heard the saying that you have a bad experience at McDonald's. I'm going back. I'm still going back because they won't let me down twice. So understand that. Don't let church hurt stop you. So this morning as we stand, I just want to thank you one more time for your love, not just for us, but for your ministry, for your church, for what this church does. It's so awesome to watch you guys fulfill the dreams of Stratford and fulfill the dreams of you as individuals. It's so amazing. Thank you guys for this opportunity.